Happy Thursday, everybody. Once again, it's of course by Aussie Now, our special Thursday night Instagram Live where we meet the maker. Well, tonight we've got a really interesting man that we are talking to, the one and only Josh Howard.
Hi.
Hey, Josh, how are you?
Good, mate. How's it going?
Good. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us. I've been a big fan of Biology Now since the start, so it's really exciting to be on this side.
Let's talk about you. You've tapped into a very unique and very interesting area in your creating your business. Single Use Ain't Sexy, which is not an R-rated magazine, just in case everyone was wondering. It's an amazing product and something that you've done off the bat from yourself and really identified a market. Now, tell us about your product and your brand and how it came about.
I like to say we're Australia's most revolutionary hygiene company. So effectively Barocca tablets, but for personal care, hygiene and cleaning products. So we have these little dissolvable hand soap tablets. They're kind of like Barocca tablets and reusable bottles. And so you mix them in our reusable bottles. You mix them with tap water, they dissolve, and they create this full bottle of foam hand soap. And then when you're done, instead of chucking the bottle into landfill, you just fill it up with tap water again, drop in another tablet, and it makes a new bottle. So what we're trying to do is get rid of single-use plastic bottles in the house.
It's a great concept, but how did you come up with the idea? It's not something that sort of randomly would pop into someone's head, I wouldn't think.
It's an interesting one. It took me a long time to kind of get to where we are. I thought, why on earth are we all shipping water? So about 98% of a lot of our water-based products are just water, and then the raw ingredients are about 2%. And so I thought, well, why don't we minimize our carbon footprint by not shipping the water part, just ship the raw ingredient part, and then get everybody to use the water that's coming out of their tap at their kitchen or in their bathroom at home.
And how did you go, I guess, the process of identifying something, which is great to have a good idea, but then how do you go about creating this business to getting where it is now? Like, what was your business plan and how did you get to where you are today?
Good question. I think I'm still figuring it all out, as we all are.
Don't worry.
Okay, so I looked at products that you add water to that just exist in the world. And then I thought, all right, how can I then move that technology into categories that can decrease single-use plastic bottles, which is something that I'm really passionate about because I had a bit of a freak out 12 months ago and I just thought, oh my God, I can't believe how much stuff I chuck out all the time. And so if you think about like when we were kids, you have like powdered cordial, or your grandparents used denture cleaning tablets, or you cooked with chicken stock cubes, like all these, I call it the just add water category. So then I set out on a mission to try and figure out what the just add water category could look like for personal care. So I went to all these different manufacturers, not only like cosmetics manufacturers, but chicken stock cube manufacturers and cordial powder manufacturers. So I went across all the different categories and then eventually found a manufacturer that could help do it for us. So I think for us, the exciting thing is we've already saved 30,000 single-use plastic bottles going into landfill over the next 12 months. And so next, we're doing a full home suite of products. So moving on not only from hand soap, but multi-purpose spray cleaning tablets, glass cleaning tablets. We're going to tabletize the home, I like to say.
I was just going to ask, because obviously at the moment you're focusing on that one specific product, which is doing fantastically well. And I mean, especially on, I watch obviously what you do on social media and the huge engagement that you have from people that are following you. In that, particularly with sort of establishing that one product, it was very driven across social media and digital, wasn't it? And kind of getting people engaged in like what we're doing now. It has been a real key to your success to date.
It's an interesting one. I am obsessed with communicating with our customers as if they're one-on-one friends, because I know that when a brand talks to me and I feel like they're being robotic, I feel like there's no personal connection. And it's just like, oh, like they don't really understand where I'm coming from. And so we've used social media, I guess like a lot of other brands have as well, but to try and get one-on-one connections with people. So I'll often talk to customers one-on-one. I'll text them, I'll ring them, I'll leave voice memos. They probably think I'm a complete stalker, but I always try and make sure that, they're happy to continue the communication. And I think the other thing that we've used a lot of is micro-influencers. So instead of going out to someone with 500,000 followers, we've gone out to people maybe with 800 followers, but the 800 people that follow them are obsessed with everything they post. And so what's been fascinating for me is that you can get more sales and more engagement out of people with 800 followers than who have 100,000 followers if they're the right type of person to be collaborating with.
Great feedback. Let's jump back to what you mentioned before about growing your brand. How have you gone about planning your growth and thinking through what's a difficult period now to get to the other side with, a fully growing business?
I think what we've seen with COVID is this obsession with cleanliness and hygiene is going to extend far beyond the worst of what's happening. So we're from Melbourne too. I'm reading the papers every day in horror, cannot believe the numbers going up. And what I think that does is it makes us acutely aware of being clean and healthy. And I think that's going to go on for at least maybe 3 or 4 years. So for example, I'm washing my hands 15 to 20 times a day, which I know because I count. And I think that probably won't change within the next couple of years, even when COVID's done, because I'll get home from the supermarket or I'll get home from the gym and I'll be wanting to wash my hands because I'm like, oh, what germs could there have been? So what we've done with our modeling is it's hard because the situation is changing so much. So we're trying to be really cognizant of what people's mindsets are. And then we're modeling our business based on that. So for example, I was going to bring out another product next, and I decided that we're going to bring out a multi-purpose spray tablet because once people wash their hands, what do they want to do? They want to wash all the surfaces in their home. So our business modeling has been very much trying to read the temperature of the community. And at the moment, that's the only way I know how to kind of do it, is make it up as we go along.
Well, that's what a lot of us are doing, so don't worry about that. I think, what would your advice be then to people who are, struggling at the moment, like we all are, to try to think outside the square and stay afloat and, keep our mental health well? What would your advice be to businesses, who are thinking that the worst, it's worse yet to come, but we will get out of it on the other side? What would your advice be to them?
It's a tricky one because I think there's so many people who are struggling and doing it tough. The thing I would say is I do think there are opportunities within what's going on. So I didn't take advantage of that. This was just luck. We were already, launching a hand soap business, and then we just had it. So we've been trying to work hard to get the soap into the hands of people that really need it. But if you're doing it tough, I would say try and forecast 1, 2, or 3 months ahead at what is happening and what is likely. So I think the masks is a really good example. So masks weren't compulsory anywhere. And then about 2 weeks ago, they were compulsory in Melbourne. But as the numbers each day were going up, masks becoming compulsory was something that was kind of being discussed in a very kind of low level way. And like Rosalia and Nick, who you had on last week, they moved so quickly that I think the lesson there was try and forecast ahead as much as you can, but then have a product or a business that you can move so quickly to manufacture that you can get it to people right when they need it.
Perfect advice. We often talk about, and people do it for the right reasons, that, being socially responsible, ethically responsible, looking after the environment, which of course is the exact centerpiece of your business. But sometimes that gets pushed to the side when things get tough, and we have to, I guess we prioritize what we think is important. What would your tip be to people there where it becomes perhaps not top of mind, but that we really still need it to be top of mind?
I think 2 things is look at the businesses that you're supporting and the founders that you're supporting and see what their actual mission is, like why they started their business. And then 2, remember that if you're making decisions based on COVID or the current climate, that just maybe because you're doing things that are catering to you right now, it doesn't mean you can't compromise in ways that you wouldn't normally. I think one of the things that we're seeing is, I started this business because I had eco-anxiety, which I say in jest a little bit, but it's true. It's this sense that the impending doom of the environmental situation is so great that nothing you do could make a dent in making it better. And so what I think is interesting about what we're trying to do is solve the dual public health crisis and the dual environmental crisis at the same time. So I like to think that we're trying to help people during COVID, but not at the expense of the environment. And I would say to anyone, just have a look at the businesses that you want to support, And usually if it's a business that has their heart in the right place, their mission statement and their intention is going to be very clear from the get-go.
Wonderful advice. What an inspiring young man you are.
I should say as well, mate, thank you for everything that you've been doing with Biosy now. Like, I've got a lot of friends who work in this space, a lot of young people trying to get Aussie businesses off the ground. And it's pretty encouraging when there's platforms like you guys around where we feel like we're actually supported by somebody in our country and in our market. And I think, look at how well you've done. You can see that consumers want to buy from Aussie brands as well. It's just a no-brainer now.
No, it's great. It's a, you know, the commentary we're getting, and we just wish we could build technology faster, but unfortunately we can't. So what we're doing at the moment is, you know, we're trying to drive everyone to, you know, the business's website. So at least we're continuing to use this platform to support businesses directly, which is fantastic, because that still is what we're all about. But mate, congratulations. Just, I think what you've done in a short space of time, and the importance of us thinking of other people as well, which is kind of what Biossy's about, as what you have done in terms of looking after the environment and thinking of other people's extraordinary. So congratulations. It was so great to meet you and have you on tonight. And I think you'll be one of the great success stories in Australia. So congratulations.
Thank you, mate. And stay safe, everybody, please.